folks. I want to talk to you about something. About you, about me, about the American dream, about a feeling that we've all lost, a feeling we used to carry in our hearts, a feeling maybe even deeper than our hearts. Maybe in our cockles. Maybe the cockles of our hearts. Maybe perhaps the subcockle region. Maybe even in the colon. Well, I'm just a regular Joe with a regular job. I'm your average white suburbanite slob. I like football and porno, books about war. Got an average house with a nice hardwood floor. My wife, my jobs, my kids in my car. My feet on my table and a Cuban cigar. But sometimes that just ain't enough to keep a man like me interested. Oh no, no way. No, I gotta go out and have fun at someone else's expense. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I drive really slow in the ultra fast lane while people behind me are going insane. I'm an asshole, yo, 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 yo. I'm an asshole, yo, 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 yo. I ride summer. Wait. I use public toilets and I piss on the seats. I walk around in the summertime singing, how about this heat? I'm an asshole, yo, 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 yo. I'm an asshole, who's the world's biggest asshole. Sometimes I park in handicapped spaces where handicapped people make handicapped faces. I'm an asshole, yo, 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 yo. I'm an asshole, he's the world's biggest asshole. A-S-S-H-O-L-E. Everybody, A-S-S-H-O-L-E. I'm an asshole, and I'm proud of it. Anyways, so that was basically my impression of the Trump State of the Union. And now that we're past that, I'm just gonna catch my breath a little, take a breather. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are, and welcome back to the actual Lost Begotten channel. We have been broadcasting as per usual on the other channel, now entitled Easy Reefers. And we're back now on the former Sean Morris channel, now known as the Lost Begotten channel, to talk about some cool stuff, valuable stuff, things that millionaires like that probably wouldn't want me to give away. They would probably see something like this and want to keep it a secret. And that is a 3-year plan to total liquidity. That's right. 3 years, debt-free, and owning real estate and a business. 3 years, owning a business and the land that it's on, while that business owes nothing. Now part of the plan is you are going to wind up with a house note. But the part of most good plans should wind up with you winding up with a house note if you don't currently own a home. So this particular plan applies mostly towards people who either own a home or would like to upgrade, or ideally, I guess the scenario would be someone who wants to relocate to the countryside, but wants to bring their economic opportunity with them, so to speak. So I thought, rather than responding to the defiler's little state of placation, or the state of treason address, or whatever, I think it's hilarious that now that we've been taken over by the Soviet Union, after the Republican makes his address and then the Democrat makes their address, and then the party member makes their address, as in, you know, the Bernie, he's a socialist. He's just a socialist. That's all he is. Always has been, always will be. And I suppose you just have to accept that to see the funny little parallel. The party member. The old fuck who's really in charge. Oh. They should play some polka afterwards. Fuck. I feel like we're all just one happy family now. Anyways, rather than giving a response, I thought the Democratic response was fairly effective. But that's if you accept the fundamental argument that I don't, that anything he says should be taken seriously at all. Because it's not hard to take every single argument made from the common Democratic standpoint and also mention why the Ruspublican, why the neo-Confederate position is essentially anti-American and plays into Russia's hands. We can make that argument about every single little fucking thing they say. I mean, talk about making you miss neocons. These people are traitors. I'll take neocons over neo-Confederates any day. But anyways, rather than do my own line-by-line response of all the stupid shit, because nothing to me really even fucking matters when there's foreign influence in the White House, for fuck's sake. No little policy changes that we do now take precedence over just getting rid of this motherfucker and making sure everybody that helped him get there pays a hell of a price. I mean, the difference is basically, I mean, what the fuck are we talking about here? Let me just reality check everybody on the collusion thing, okay? You got two scenarios. One, he's just in business with and sort of kind of loosely playing along with a psychological warfare campaign against this country to get elected. In which case, there's no way in hell he should still be allowed to be fucking president or, you know, anywhere on this side of bars. And the other is he actually helped coordinate and plot the attack against this country, in which case, well, he should probably be fucking executed as a high traitor. So it's not the difference between whether he should be allowed to stay in office, and then there's the definition of collusion, and then he gets impeached. It's a matter of he should have been impeached a long time ago, and what you're essentially deciding is whether or not he's guilty of what should be the only executable offense in any country: treason against that country. That is helping an enemy attack you. What the fuck? And until we get real about him helping an enemy attack us, that's what he did. That's what they were doing. The enemy was attacking us. He was helping the enemy. What was he helping the enemy do? Attack us. Well, of course, my shit goes all wild. He was helping the enemy was attacking us. He was giving targeting data to the enemy so that they could attack more precisely, so that their attack could have the biggest terrorist psychological impact possible. So I don't care about any of the little fucking policies. We've got a clear and present danger in the White House. But just to put myself into perspective for a change. Of course, I don't really know what the last video on this channel was. Didn't bother to look, sorry. But to put myself into perspective in the greater scheme of things and how all of this plays out, I just wanted to be me for a broadcast. Because I've had a good day. It didn't start out a good day. Oh, it was... Oh. More than I can describe. Let's just say the spouse is not happy at her job. And that can lead to a lot of different screaming matches. Are you fucking kidding me? I wonder how much money Russia just spends on writing their own ticket to hell. Spend an awful lot of energy just being shitty to people for shittiness' sake. was the fucking 2 viewer back down to 1. Whoever's the 1 viewer there, I guess welcome. Feel free to say hello. Don't know if the notifications are going out on this channel. Used to have a little bit better viewership on here than the other one, even though the other one had 3,000 subscribers and this one had 60, but there's just no fucking telling anymore. Anyways, what I was saying was, wife and I were, you know, having an argument about finances, as we tend to do towards the end of the month, every month. And, you know, speaking of which, and I'll go ahead and get to that in a minute, because we've had some good news on that front. So, you know, now is the time for anybody putting off Patreon to go ahead and become a Patreon supporter. But anyways, let me just tell the long version of the story. So the wife and I were getting in a pretty heated discussion over finances this morning. Let's just say, if my license wasn't expired and we were, you know, able to afford to renew it, maybe, that probably would have been a bad thing today. You know? You know it's a bad day when having an expired license keeps you from making rash decisions. Like fucking going straight over to the used car lot, fucking just bullshitting my way into a job. Oh my God. I do not want to be a used car salesman, but it's the only job that I know I can fucking do around here. The problem is, there isn't exactly a used car lot worthy of respect around here. They're not as bad as the ones in the city, but holy shit, they're still used car lots, you know? But if I would have done that, I would have been too busy to have a little conversation I wound up having later on. And that conversation went pretty well. And you know, sometimes you tend to plan out the easy way of doing things, but you always got to bear in mind your backup plan of the hard way of doing things. It can still get it done when it needs to get done, so you can meet whatever deadline you're talking about, okay? I've been trying to do the easy way, setting up this one particular arrangement, and been getting nowhere with it. Because my wife is not a salesperson. She just damn near has like a phobia-like hump that she just cannot overcome. Just a mountain keeping her from just seeing how easy making somebody want to do something that benefits them is, you know? But just Side note to spouses in general. If your spouse has a trade, your job is to tell people at every opportunity that they are the best in that trade. Because that helps your household out. So, I was almost going to be short one investor because my wife didn't want to be known at the office as the girl who can't stop shutting up about how brilliant her husband is. But, as awkward as that would have been, it was kind of the pre-qualifying I needed to not have so much damn pressure on my presentation so I could actually focus on the plan itself. Basically, have myself pre-qualified by her and in reference to the other people from my high school that also that also work at this place. As being basically someone with so much untapped potential that I'm like a living lottery ticket. Okay? That's what I wanted the big money people to hear around the grapevine about me, and it didn't happen. So, that was the easy way. You gotta have a point where you stop waiting for the ideal to come around to you, and you just gotta fucking, take the bull by the horns, as it were. Okay? But to do this, you have to really have a plan on your presentation. Okay? See, it takes a while to build a team indirectly and get a consensus on a vision that, just frankly, people may not be able to grasp until they see it starting to happen. So you have to have a time period in which you ascertain how well people are grasping. Do they really get it? Do they really get the urgency? Do they really get why this needs to be done? Do they really see how much this is going to benefit them and everyone they know? If it's a brilliant plan, do they see that it's a brilliant plan? How brilliant is it? You got to have a cutoff point where you decide that they're just not going to get it. Now, it can work more ideally if they can get it. Maybe, maybe your plan's not as fucking complicated as mine is. Mine's just too complicated. I've come to accept that. I gotta talk straight to the fucking bigwigs. Or nobody, it's just, okay. I see a map of 20 buildings and I see the fucking economic flow charts between them, like, come on. But we're going to get to that in a second and why that's a great thing to teach your brain how to picture. Oh, more than a second, a few minutes. But anyways. So what you do is you be honest about your fears. You be honest about your shortcomings. You be honest about why you needed that team to start to come into place in the first place. And you compartmentalize those things. You have to have a point where you don't rely on everything to come together at once. And you start putting numbers on those people. And say, okay, if I want that person's help, I'm going to need to move towards that number to get their help, to pay them for their time. Plain and simple. Okay? Because nothing's going to make somebody hurry up and learn what the fuck you're talking about like signing a check for them every week. But you got to have that cutoff point where you give up on sort of a group effort and you just go for one pro with the big fucking money. And I'm not talking your big investment banker groups. I'm talking about your local developer friendly type guy who can get you started. Okay, somebody who can actually help. All right, somebody who's in that field already. Somebody who's successful but always looking to expand. Somebody who's already divested into multiple local businesses is an ideal person to partner up with. Especially if they are involved in school or local activities. If they have that sort of public-facing presence, you know, talking about one of the pillars of community. Because any good plan, and I just want to stress this, any really good plan, Jeff Bezos, any really good plan, Jeff Bezos, focuses on providing jobs, or else it is not a good plan. Now, let me just explain this. If you don't focus on providing jobs, you're diminishing your long-term market potential. Think about that for a second as I repeat it. If you don't focus on creating jobs, big corporate companies like Jeff Bezos' Amazon, as more companies in their lust for money fail to focus on jobs as a priority, they diminish their own market at an exponential rate. Eventually, you fucking idiots are just going to be paying taxes to pay people to buy your shit. Because nobody's going to have actual jobs. That's just called mathematics, you know. Call me crazy. I can fucking math. Now, that's a number sheet that you can imbalance in your favor. Granted. But if you think people aren't just going to be driven crazy by that shit and rise up against you, you're fucking delusional. And if you think I'm wrong about that math eventually adding up, you're fucking stupid. But that wouldn't be a first time somebody disagreed with me out of sheer stupidity. In fact, very few opportunities arise for someone to disagree with me for any other reason. From food production to cleaning service to walking your dog, people are thinking about roboticizing everything but consumption itself. And then what the fuck will consumption be but a mechanism of slavery? Still can't grasp it, John. Still can't fathom the nemesis. Just stretch out your little primary feathers, baby birds. I guess I'll have to teach you how to fly. But then, to fly, you'd have to learn how to walk, and before you learn how to walk, you gotta learn how to crawl. So where you at? We got some long-time viewers here that are walking just fine. And there's people crawling around all over the place with their heads down, but at least they're crawling. And then there's people like Jordan. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Swinging on some kind of little monkey swing or something. Causing a ruckus in the corner. What the fuck are we talking about? I don't know. I was doing some kind of a metaphor, but then it just kind of wound up some kind of fucked up daycare center. Anyway. So, what I was talking about was how roboticization, okay, to roboticize everything. Is basically the most dangerous form of Orwellian socialism's manifestation possible. It is essentially to eliminate your rights inevitably by eliminating the need for you entirely as anything but a tube for shit to go into. Whether it be digital or chemical. Yeah, well, after about 9 o'clock at night here, there's nobody open. There's like 5 people standing up front having a fucking break, waiting to go home or something. I don't know. And they got people stocking in the back. And they got one chick monitoring 4 or 6 different self-checkout lanes. The fuck is that? Anyways. So, let me find a fucking bandana. Yes, we have no bandana. Do you have bandana for me? Oh. Muchos veteros. I don't get distracted by my own bald hair and fucked up head or whatever. Bald head and fucked up hair. I just get a little depressed. It's just like, oh, really? Is that how old I am? Yeah, oh wow. Anyways. So similarly to the way socialism itself, essentially leading to a command economy through consolidation of power by development of black markets, and the cycle of corruption that ensues. Basically, mafia always takes over any socialist state. That's why mafia promotes socialism. Similarly, robotic utopia, where none of us are needed. Freedom is no longer required. What use does a large corporate lobby, first of all, have for people to have rights when they don't actually need any of those people to go to work for them, to sell their products, to vouch for them? They can have a computer-generated AI celebrity from fucking 20 years ago on their commercials. It's so much more scary than a mafia-ran socialist stick state. I don't know how people sit here and fucking pretend it's even remotely okay what Amazon is doing right now. Their basic corporate model is, how many fucking people can we screw out of jobs? But I mean, I could go on and on about how many different ways, and plenty of sci-fi novel and movie writers have already done this for you, about how many ways having machines doing everything basically is the enslavement of humanity. You just take away your economic power, first of all, okay? You take away all your power. Financial freedom is freedom. Period. And that is basically the freedom to be independently productive. I'm not just talking about money. I'm talking about your right to have an idea, to make other people's lives better, and in doing so, get something in exchange that makes your life better. It can be money or the barter system, for all I fucking care. But what I'm not talking about is hoarding money, making money by lending money, making money by gambling, making money by buying up commodities. As if somebody has to do it. Yeah, you know what? Somebody does have to buy up commodities. Ports. Ships. Warehouses. These days, you see, there's a lot of ways to make things more infrastructurally efficient. And there's no need for fucking middleman brokerage. But it keeps a lot of rich fucking people who have no attachment to the reality of even what those numbers mean that make them so rich, that are making the decisions that make companies like publicly traded entities like Amazon so successful. Oh, and of course, it's the same fucking types of guys who, you know, didn't have a sudden awakening or growing of a spine or change of heart or whatever you want to call it with Bill Browder. That when the Cold War supposedly ended, they basically wanted to make it taboo to say that the Russians could even be a threat anymore because, well, the investments were just too damn good. The carpetbagging was just too damn good. These aren't people with ideas that are doing productive things. They're fucking money changers. And money changers in the temple 2,000 years ago in Palestine, in Israel, which had just been established thanks to, prick named Herod, but it was still Israel, again, Israel 3.0 in fact. And money changers in the temples is a lot like not money changers in a church. No. It's money changers in your government. The Sanhedrin. The Holy of Holies. It wasn't just a church. It was where God laid the law down through the Sanhedrin and the words of Moses. Now, excuse me, when you're talking about prophecy being fulfilled again, just because I said I would do it, just because I said it would happen, when it comes to the defiler and the man of sin, and the father of lies, and how they take their turns standing in the holy place. These things have already happened. They happened with Claudius. And each of the other horsemen of the horde. I believe Saladin was one of them. But you don't need me to point that out. I've seen this. Although, you know, with the weird shit on YouTube now, I wonder if I could find it again if I tried. But I've seen people come across the various persecutors of Christianity, persecutors of the faithful, of God's chosen, of Israel, and this cyclical occurrence of Israel straying from God's ways, and that leading to such a defiler or a man of sin or an apocalyptic horseman, or an antichrist, to stand in the holy places. That means God's ways are the most logical ways to govern yourself as a people at any given time. And just to be so nice, God incarnates itself as a man and a woman quite frequently as required by the reoccurrence of this state in which mankind becomes so clouded in their minds, so deluded by propaganda and lies put forth by their enemy to set them against each other, that free will itself has become a meaningless concept. People are born into mental bondage to the point where they don't essentially really get to make choices in life. And when it comes to choices on what you actually do with your life, you know, financially, productively, it's like trying to climb sheetrock with your fingernails. Just vertical wall, just scratching your way up. It is genuinely hard, even with a fucking college degree these days, just to get out of your student loan debt. That's ridiculous. When you have to know people to get ahead, what you're moving towards is monarchy. What you're moving towards is oligarchy. All the different kind of archies that you fucking should avoid, basically. The same way Walmart kicking out small businesses, the same way Amazon roboticizing jobs, the same way different types of shitty corporatism are detrimental to society. The whole cliquish aspect that ensues basically becomes a caste system. That's what's developed in this country. And we got to call it like it is in order to break it, don't we? This has become a pseudo-monarchy of unregulated corporatism. Now, I am a severe pro-capitalist. I am a pro-entrepreneurial, pro-small business, pro-big business, pro-international corporation. Okay? But I'm pro-corporate responsibility. And if for no other reason, then God is great and powerful and has arranged the universe to where you cannot avoid this fact. The fact is that corporate responsibility is the same as long-term corporate profitability. In order to have a model of business that is profitable in the long term, that does not lead to a governmental or environmental collapse, you fucking idiots, you need to take care of the world and the people. Or else you're just putting yourself out of business. And I don't know what else to describe that as being fucking idiots. So excuse the fucking idiots, but you're fucking idiots. Fucking idiots. Jeff Bezos. Fucking idiot. And by that, you know, I'm being nice because, well, it's better to be a fucking idiot than a traitor to humanity. You fucking traitor to humanity, Jeff Bezos. Now, since I'm done proving just how fucking clearly I see things, what I'm gonna do is further prove that I'm the one who gets to give the State of the World address. Donald Trump. Negotiating genius? Sales genius? Real estate genius? None of the above. And to prove it, I'm gonna blow him the fuck out of the water. One item at a time. Right now, on that level, I'm gonna give you free financial advice. that is on a completely different level that Donald Trump can even fucking comprehend, that is on a better, more realistic footing than that millionaire person who gives advice to real estate people on YouTube. Okay? Million view video. Now, 6 years ago, I had already seen this video. I remember seeing this video. I remember being disappointed by this video. Because even 6 years ago, at that point, 6 years ago, and I'm pretty sure this was filmed before then or something, because I don't see how someone could get that big giving such ludicrous advice. But let's just say dated advice at best, okay? This is how to buy real estate without cash or credit, okay? Which is essentially called creative financing, all right? And this guy didn't invent it. He didn't invent the bullet points that he's giving. They're not his thing. He's just, you know, one of the guys who made a presence for himself by organizing sales processes in a different way, okay? And he's really good at what he does, but I haven't seen anything he's really added to anything, okay? And as far as this particular lecture goes, it's just like, it's a really overplayed set of theories, okay? And dude, frankly, it's fucking clickbait, okay? It's fucking clickbait. Because of how overplayed these theories are. If you've actually been in the real estate field now, okay, now just a little background on me. My mother was a vice president of a property acquisitions firm. Okay, she had a real estate license. She worked for a construction consulting firm. Then got a real estate license, did real estate for a couple of agencies for a while, and just kind of earned her way up. And was just working for this big guy that flipped several properties at once. Luxury homes to giant office buildings. And guess who got the help for $5 an hour every summer? Me. But I haven't been in real estate myself, other than helping other people who are in real estate, as I have been mostly in the IT business myself for the past 20 years, or the 15 years prior to the anyways. I see someone is tuned out because they think they already know what advice I'm about to give. Oh. Not wise, not wise. If you've never noticed, I like to beat around the bush on purpose just to make people have to at least, you know, exhibit a little bit of patience to earn something. You remember that story in the Bible where the prophet or protagonist or king or whoever of the time of the story was greatly rewarded by God without a test of patience? Do you remember that story in the Bible? Where they got everything they wanted? Me neither. Because it's not in the fucking Bible, is it? Kill me. Oh, yeah, sometimes. Just for fun. Dum. Wait, wrong button. All right. Oi. So this guy's whole thing is find somebody who'll let you pay by the month, basically. Find an idiot. And the thing is, even 6 years ago, idiots were becoming really rare. And now with Realtor and Zillow and a lot of problems facing the big real estate companies because of independent financing and companies. I mean, there are some actual creative things you can go to, and since I'm being so nice, let me just go ahead and tell you. Divvy, D-I-V-V-Y, that's a rent-to-ownish broker that'll basically buy a house and then rent to own it to you. Okay? And Knock, that's K-N-O-C-K. I think these are apps or websites or something. They're the names of companies. Is a sub-broker similar to Divvy, but they're just for second-time buyers. Now, I didn't qualify these people in any way. I don't know if they're like fucking communist agents or whatever, but those are some of the examples of why it's getting harder and harder to be a real estate agent. And these are basically things that he should have mentioned. Now, let me just tell you this. Use these services to get around the bank, but do so with the help of a real estate agent. Because a real estate agent earns their fucking money, man. Well, except for on really big deals. You know, the bigger the deal, the less they earn the money, because they basically have to do the same thing and the commission just goes up. But when it comes to normal people's houses, when it comes to in the $500,000 or less range, they're doing a lot of work, and they've put a lot of money into their education so that they could do it for you. And you're not going to be able to learn everything that they know, believe me. That's why they fucking charge so much for it. Save yourself some headaches and make yourself good friends with a real estate agent. You know, find somebody with experience that likes to teach you and prolong your relationship with them, and especially from a future business standpoint, that's a good bridge to build. So anyways, that is not, let me just name the plan. Let me just name my little thing. We're going to call it the screwball method. And you'll see why when I get done explaining it. We're going to call it the screwball method. Because, well, You can even be a total screwball. And if you have a really good idea, whether or not it's a trade that you have experience with or something you wanted to do when you were a kid, and you just figured out an efficient way to plan it, I'm going to show you why I call it the screwball method, other than that. But first, let me just talk more about ways you shouldn't go about, or ways you shouldn't get your hopes up as far as financing goes. Okay. When the seller becomes the bank, when you're making your payments to the seller, if it's not your mama or your auntie or your uncle or your grandpa or your grandma, fat chance, just put that out of your mind. You're not gonna find it. But say you do, okay? Say there is a property like this. Before you go looking for this property, first consider what it would take for somebody to get there. Because bear in mind, what happens when somebody sells a home, okay? Don't get it twisted in thinking that a buyer comes in and you know, they get a mortgage and somehow the bank doesn't give the fucking seller all their... No, the bank gives the seller all the money. They get all their money. Every fucking time. And unless it's your grandpa, grandma, auntie, uncle, mama, daddy, maybe your fucking rich, stupid brother-in-law or something, who burps just like that in the middle of a sentence, and then takes another sip of beer before continuing. What you want ain't gonna happen. Because for someone to put a house on the market so long that they've just decided, fuck it, I'll let somebody just pay me monthly for it. Here's a list of the things that could have gone wrong and led them to that point. First and foremost, and this is the biggest one that's gonna halt your fucking real estate career in a hurry. The bank won't buy it as a property. There's something fundamentally wrong with it. And the bank won't underwrite it because of that disastrous level of condition, which means you're probably going to have to rebuild the entire house. Now, if you're planning on rebuilding the entire house, why the fuck are you needing to rent to own something to begin with? You should have capital. So that's just not a scenario that's even going to happen. But what I'm trying to say is, if you're at the point in your budget where you need to rent to own, or make payments to own to the seller, just be wary that that property is going to require repairs beyond your budget to begin with. Okay, so that just doesn't make any sense to do. Not to me. Not just based on observational experience. And so, well, logic. Now, the other one he mentioned was something about you take over somebody else's loan on a property. Again, before you buy anything used, what's the first question you should ask? Why are you selling it? Okay? Now, somebody remind me in case I forget. I want to talk about negotiating techniques. And there was one other thing, but I can't remember it right now. But anyways. So why are you wanting somebody to take over? Okay, if somebody's wanting you to willing to let you take over their payments on something, what's the likely scenarios of why that would happen? Because they're upside down. Because their mortgage is more than what their house is worth. Okay, so basically, you're volunteering and you're just inheriting it's much better to, let me just, before I go into the actual screwball technique, which requires more ingenuity than just being a real estate flipper. Let me just go into how somebody should real estate flip by itself, okay? You start fucking small. You go with what you can pay for. All right? Buying, you know, while you're in college, grind fucking tooth and nail, type up a plan, send it in writing, envelope in writing, a business plan with positions, budgets for incorporation and everything, trying to get aunts, uncles, grandma, grandpa, you know, all those people, to co-sign to get a duplex for you, or a 4 or 5 bedroom house in an area that allows individual bedrooms to be rented. Okay? Boom, you got your rent paid through college, and probably gonna have your college paid for. And by the time you graduate, you'll have equity. Now, do you go and buy another house that big and try to flip it? No. You take out a loan less than your equity. You make a killing on the insurance, okay, rate, savings, right? And you focus on the smallest, cheapest, even in the ghetto, that you can find. Okay? by carefully evaluating according to three major principles, okay? Or to what I call it, like the rule of threes. If there's more than three major problems with the house, aside from, you know, basic cleanup and paint job, it's probably going to be too much for an early investment. And what you're really looking for is three things wrong with the house, or that you can improve about the house, that all each range around $3,000 each. So that's maybe the installation of a cheap garage door, maybe new kitchen cabinets and countertops, or a remodeled bathroom. You do it not by your preference or by your girlfriend's preference or by your wife's preference, okay? You do it by the numbers. You go through a strict analysis based on projected value, even if you have to sit there and play with a fucking calculator, okay? And you okay, a bathroom, $3,000. Does adding a bathroom make this property worth more? Does adding that garage door on that fucking shed in the back make this property worth more? Don't do it by the aesthetics, okay? People can always decorate and remodel a little bit here and there later, okay? What you want to do is find the three things for $3,000 that are going to add that value the most. That's just been the way I've contemplated and come up with over the years. And I've basically like just been watching other people and face palming, and just had the idea once a long time ago, and I keep playing with it on paper, and it's pretty much fucking foolproof. I'm talking about small areas. I'm not talking about East Coast, West Coast shit, okay? I'm not talking about where you're paying hundreds of $1,000s for these little shitty houses, okay? You do what you need to out there. I'm talking about most of America, where there are these, you know, long, trashy, abandoned things in the ghettos for $15,000, $20,000, okay? Bought singly by people who want to live in them, they're not going to do a whole lot of good. But if you got a plan to go into a block and buy it one at a time, cheap, and rent them out until you can get them all into a sellable condition, you can, instead of having to pick an area, you can pick a price and make an area. And that's what's it called? Civic responsibility. Now anyways, so that's just, you know, the best way anybody can get into flipping real estate, even like starting from fucking homelessness, the shit I wish I would have done to get ahead a little sooner. in retrospect, now that I'm almost fucking 40, or, yeah, whatever age my fake TV personality is supposed to be. I'm 29, yeah. Now that I'm in my late 20s and I've gained all this wisdom, I wish. One of the best things you can do when trying to find that first place that you can rent a room or two, or a duplex, okay, is write out the exact plan for it. Okay? Do some market research. Show your market research. This includes what okay, property A, B, C, and D go for. What property A, B, C, and D are renting for in those areas. Distance from property A1 to A2. From B1 to B2, from C1 to C2. Savvy? And then show investment cost, rental amount, number of occupants, years to recoup, repayment per month, years to recoup. A business plan, an executive summary, 1 page. You should be able to get it down to 1 page. Okay. And considering that, you know, chances are the older the person is, the more likely it is they'll be able to help. 1 page. I'm just thinking of like the different aunts and uncles that, you know, I never tried that, but that would have been the one way I could have actually gotten some help, could have actually earned some help that I never fucking tried. And you know what? Even if it would have failed, I'd feel a lot better about myself if I'd have fucking tried it. So if you're younger out there, if you're in your 20s, if you're still in college, hell, if you're in your fucking 30s, and just tired of the fucking feeder bar, tired of the paycheck to paycheck shit, make a list. And then get that plan together. And send it to everybody on the list. If you get more than one reply, good. Multifamily housing is a wonderful thing. Anyways. So, speaking of multifamily housing, that is just one of the possibilities that are going to go on your list of needs, but it's only an option as far as what to fill in this one spot of list of needs to meet the requirements for the screwball method. I like calling it the screwball method just for fun. You know, I guess I'll just go right into explaining why and how fucking stupid it is. But it's a pretty, it's like the idiot way of explaining it, and it cracks me up. And okay, especially since I get to repeatedly use the word balls. Yeah, thanks for giving me a like for the word balls. Balls. Now, I drew. I never even. Oh, I don't know if I thought about it this way, but I think I noticed that it did kind of look like balls, but then I negated to sort of follow through on the testicularity of them, because it's a three-part Venn diagram. Okay. Now, what we have here is the screwball method is actually a direct path to 3-year liquidity. 3-year liquidity means you own a business. That business is not owned by a bank. That business is no longer even owned by an investor. You also now own a house. Not a flip house. A house that you get to fucking build. Now, unfortunately, unless you can build buildings like I do, the house that you build for yourself will vary. However, it won't be long before I can help you with that fucking problem. And if building buildings isn't your thing, let's just say, as a disclaimer, it's a lot less likely that all of this is going to work for you. Because in some way, in order to become a truly secure entity, no matter what your business is, whether it's automotive service, whether you invented the latest and the greatest of all kitchen tools, whether you're a carpet cleaner, or, I don't know, you have a Quickie Mart on the Storner, on the Storner. Storner. I like that. It's a corner with a store on it. It's a fucking Storner. Said the Stoner. I mean, your light disappeared, Jared. Jordan. Jambalaya. Fuck. Judo. Flipper? No. Alright. The fuck was I talking about? So, what you want to have is something developed on your skill. Okay? Obviously. You got to do what you're put on this earth to do. What God gave you talents to do. Okay? And if you don't feel the need to start a business based on something you've invented or some skill that you have, you know, a production-based business or a service-based business, then this plan just isn't for you. This is not just your basic real estate flipping thing. Real estate needs to be involved as a cornerstone to this plan in order to secure it and in order to ensure the cost overlap necessary to achieve 3-year liquidity. Okay? Now, this 3-year liquidity isn't for you personally. This isn't for all of your investors. No. This is for the business. Okay? Because if you achieve liquidity as a business in 3 years, guess what? Investors suddenly listen and are interested in whatever this business might be. 3-year liquidity? They don't care if you have a YouTube channel that throws tampons on a wall to see how well they stick, okay? 3-year liquidity? How much do you need, young man? That means they're paid back. That means this plan can fucking pay for itself. That means you have a profit model that's effective, right? Well, unless somebody died and left you a whole bunch of shit, or you have, you know, thousands of dollars in tools or inventory or whatever it is already. Okay, unless you're not far off already, coming up with a 3-year liquidity plan in today's economy, good luck. You better be an app developer. That's like it. That's the one option. But you know what? If you've been at least trying to stay on the right path, chances are you've met some good people along the way. Okay? And I know that anybody who knows these people the way I have people like that, okay, because I've talked to so many of them about this, that I know that anybody watching this who has just good quality fucking friends that they know do good fucking quality work have had this feeling, wouldn't it be great if we could all fucking start a business together? But you do different things, and you all got your own lives and your busy schedules, and you barely got time for each other. So what you gonna do? What's your plan? Okay. So to explain this, let's talk about screwballs. So I got a plan. It's the handiest and the dandiest of all kitchen tools. It slices, it dices, it even circumcises. Also makes julienne fries. And I just call it the screwball for no reason, because it happens to be made in, it's made of screws and balls. Lots of screws, lots of balls. A particular type of screw and a particular type of ball. Screws and balls, balls and screws. It's the screwball. Okay? And I'm going to make this screwball and I'm going to sell it. Okay? And that particular business model would, in most cases, not be profitable. Not in the near term. It might take me 10 years, 15 years to be profitable. And when it comes to finding an investors, I'm going to have no luck. Okay? In most situations, my screwballs are going to cost too much to make for what I can sell them for. Okay, now bear in mind, I'm just talking fucking nonsense. A screwball is just a generic product that's not meant to make any sense. Because I'm a screwball. Now, how do you solve this problem? Well, I got a friend, and he makes screws. He makes all kinds of screws. He's a screwy guy. Makes big screws, little screws, shiny screws, dull screws. I got another friend. He makes balls. Big balls, little balls, dull balls, shiny balls. Lots and lots of balls. Well, I only need this one particular screw and this one particular ball. And I can make my screw balls. Okay? And this person, they're making screws for somebody else. They're really good at it. This Perkin, they're making balls out of their basement. And they got a warehouse on their uncle's land. And they're running out of space. Both of these people got potential. They got a whole lot of potential for screws. They got screws loose everywhere. They got all kinds of potential for balls. They just got balls hanging all over. And if you could just find a way to get them what they want, their own businesses, making balls and screws, you could use one of their screws and one of their balls at some sort of discount rate, and that would make your business plan work, and you could be profitable. But you still couldn't be profitable in 3 years. Nope, you're only at maybe 5 to 7 years at this point. So what's the solution? Bulk land purchase on the corner of a street that leads to a main street of some sort. It can be, you know, out of the main economic drag, but on the main street itself. You need to find this type of piece of land, and you can solve this problem and get to your 3-year liquidity. Now, again, that's why this plan works best if one of the people involved, and it can certainly and would be better off involving more than 2 other people, okay? You know, you want a screwball pineapple pen or something, whatever. Yeah. But, what you do is, you get yourself a land where, a piece of land where, you know, you need to make your screwballs or whatever. All right, I drew a piece of land on a river, which I didn't need to bother explaining because it doesn't look enough like a river. Sorry, thinking about murdering somebody right quick. But you buy this land at an intersection distant from the main drag, distant from the main area, but on that main street. Oh, now they've left. Now they'll leave for good. Yeah, how about that? Because you want it to be for the success of your future city council presentation, okay, for zoning, all right? You want it to be a way of establishing a definable boundary between the expanding metropolis and where most people would like to keep it residential. Okay, you want to find that land that's right in the middle, right there. And that's, you know, in a lot of places, the only place where land is left. Now what you do is, you then rezone this land with an agreement with these business owners, future business owners, that they are going to purchase in their names with their credit the portions of this land at a markup. You know, you're buying the land in bulk. You're going to sell these land based on the values of those fucking lots, okay, which is going to basically cover most of this price. And if any of them would like to, they can build themselves a house on this cross-street rezoned residential portion, where you will then further complete the liquefaction of your company by buying a house from yourself. You get to design it and build it yourself. You get to have the home of your fucking dreams right next to your business. All you have to do is find people who want to put their own homes in their own names and have their own businesses in their own names. Now, what I recommend is that you figure out an equitable profit-sharing arrangement and become involved completely in each other's business and have a corporate meeting-based established set of rules and regulations around common marketing and materials, okay? Because the bulk purchase of raw materials is then going to further assist the different types of production that y'all can reduce costs with. So you're reducing costs with, say, 3 businesses that all need a welder, or say these 2 businesses need a welder, these 2 businesses need a fiberglass workshop. All of them require fucking printing paper, office supplies, at the very least. There are things like rubber, plastic, wood, adhesives,
paint many things that apply cross industry in many ways. And it's up to you and your friends to get together and figure out, well, these both need this. And you bring those fucking numbers down with bulk purchases. Then you figure out what each one of you has to buy still, or what each one of you would have to spend more money with for a tool or for something else to make, or hire someone else to make. And then can this other person who makes more money off of doing that, can I just borrow their shit from time to time? Can I contract them out? Can I sublet this task of my business to this person in their business? Overlap. You can start from the ground up with a whole new level of cost reduction. And then, to cap it all off, so you can make that 3-year liquidity look really feasible. I mean, just inevitable. So you can make it look like you're seizing it by the fucking balls, or by the horns, or whatever you want to seize it by. I recommend reins, you know, like leather straps. They work very well. Domesticated, oh wait, no, undomesticated equines could not remove me. Marketing. You got 3 different companies. Pool together for that 30-second ad. Make 10-second mini ads. Pool together for that half-page, quarter-page, full-page newspaper ad. Split it up. The best way to think about this is by having a common theme that enhances both quality and conveys it. So it's got to be perceived quality that's backed up by the quality that comes from all the other different brilliant ways you've reduced costs. You tout this brilliant method of reducing cost. You brag about this ground up job creating factory that you've made. And you say, we've lowered all these costs by this innovative approach so that we can bring you the quality. Then those 3 companies stand strong together. Or 4 companies, or 5 companies, or 20 companies, or however many it takes. However many you can envision. I myself, about 42. I'm just guessing, because it's probably just inevitable that it'll get there. If I were to write it down right now, how many actual named companies I intend to start? I hope it's not already 42. But let's just say it's a lot like my list of ex-girlfriends, you know, like I couldn't write them all down at once if I tried. Anyway. I will, however, show you what mine is going to look like. Will you show me yours if I show? Sorry, never mind. Okay. These are the jokes, folks. These are the jokes. Is this thing on? Is this thing on? All right. So let me put my little Monopoly pieces out. Because anybody who watches this maybe about a year from now, you can leave a message in the comments below this video, hopefully. Hopefully. If it's still here and accessible and everything. If YouTube will allow it. If YouTube would be so merciful. You know, if maybe I wasn't off somewhere being melodramatic. I'll get back to you. And I'll probably try to post the link on here. Hopefully by then I'll be able to pay someone to do this shit for me. Hopefully by then I will have a YouTube manager. And then it can be their fucking problem. I will be able to provide tremendous cost savings and developmental freedom as far as not only the types of buildings you can allot for yourself without having to hire an engineer to design every single one of them, but also enabling the purchase of disaster-prone land. Because, as you may have seen from previous videos, I have some highly disaster-resistant buildings that are modular, scalable, and deployable. And by modular, I mean modular in their construction and resulting in normal, regular, code-meeting buildings. But I'm not even at the point where I'm disclosing the name of the company, so I regret I cannot directly plug it at this time. So, anyways, don't talk about shit until you got it done. Let me just give that word of advice, especially not these days. But here's something I can show you. Basic layout of what we're going to have going. Okay, here's your main street, and here's your cross street. Now, I have two residencies right here. Ideally, this land is longer than I think it is, and I'll get to squeeze them in over here after I knock over that building and kill everyone inside like Godzilla. No, that wouldn't be profitable. See, Godzilla would make a very bad business partner. He'd be building stuff and he'd be climbing up it, and yeah. But wait, that's King Kong. You know, Godzilla, the giant reptilian monkey or whatever. Jared's friend. Jordans. Oh, God. Can't stop fucking saying that. It reminds me of typing the word just when I was a teenager. I could type really, really quickly and spell most words, even very complicated words, with ease. And I know how to spell the word just because I know how to pronounce the word just. But whenever I would type the word just, my fingers betrayed me and typed out JSUT just every fucking time. Jasut. Jasut. It's like getarealcomputer.corn. It's Jasut, the wrong fucking word. Anyways. I know, that's fucking fascinating. So, these are horrible, horrible examples of what the buildings should look like, but, this is a lot like my grandmother's house in Irish Bayou, fucking just a wooden pyramid. And, then I have structures made for cubicle strength, and then I have some more rectangular type residential structures. Basically, the cubicle strength helps more with the load-bearing aspect of it when trying to make a building float, which is why the cubicle strength is featured here, which is also a leaning tower assembly, because 5 stories of wood, I'm not putting concrete walls on that, so it's going to be leaning in the wind, and I'm going to make it do so very gracefully. Anyways, so just to give you a basic idea of what I have going on, this is my building, actually my set of buildings that's going to be building the buildings. All right. This is going to be a recycling center. I'm going to be collecting trash from the town and turning it into construction materials. If you'd like to see how to do that, just fucking type it into YouTube and you can find all kind of people doing it. This is my house, and this is a house for the guy who's going to be basically my foreman, my head contractor, that kind of guy. This is sort of a pace-yourself automotive restoration shop. Basically, instead of building a garage, we're going to build an automotive shop. A place where eventually we can have someone run a profitable business from. Okay? I can't do that full time, or I will go like this. So what I'm going to be doing is working in my little pyramid, which is going to be kind of greenhouse-ish, because I'm going to be growing, guess what? Fish and coral. Okay? While living here. And I'll probably have a little porch type thing attaching myself to it, and I'm probably going to be having a lot of the brood stock in my house. Okay? So this is my thing. This is his thing. Okay? But we have other friends who already have their own houses. Okay? Friends who don't want to fucking live here. Okay? Right? One might come restore cars one day. Another, and their wife and other people, and actually several people, would all like to come work here or here. That is because one of my investors does real estate. Okay? And they have real estate agents, and a couple of my friends are real estate agents. Oh, there goes the battery. So I've got different friends working for different real estate companies. My wife works for a real estate company. My fucking, you know, I grew up just around all kinds of real estate people. I'm still just surrounded by real estate people. I'm the only one who doesn't fucking have any real estate. So, this building here, okay, let me just tell you why I'm in the construction business, and that helps me here, is because I'm building my own different new type of building. Okay, that's why I'm saying this is like something that if you want to really get into the construction business on like the architectural side of it, if you have like a really great idea on how to build houses or buildings, this is definitely a plan that you're going to have the best opportunity at. Otherwise, I'm just explaining how it's helping me in particular accomplish this much, and why instead of just having a few buildings, I've got a few buildings and a fucking tower. Okay? Don't worry about the tower for you. Tower's for me because you know, screwball. I got all kinds of screw loose and fucking big old balls hanging. What can I say? No, that's not the reason. Although, you know, I'm getting older and the fucking toilet's getting more fucking precarious all the time. It's already bad enough I gotta fucking act like I'm holding in a gonzo sneeze. Anyways, what? So I'm building buildings, all right? And I have my self-proclaimed, you know, bigger, faster, stronger, better, whatever. Longer, harder, tighter, slip, what? With pudding. Lots and lots of pudding. $247 worth of pudding. No. Prototypes. I need prototypes. I'm building buildings. I need fucking buildings, don't I? If I'm gonna convince anyone else that I can build buildings for them, I gotta build a few buildings for me. And one of those buildings I thought would be, you know, what better to showcase your building ability than to build a big, pretty fucking building. Now, partnering up with real estate people, well, they, you know, natural match. I make buildings, they sell buildings. Good deal. I can design that building as an office for them. Now, considering how many people you might know in food service, we all know a lot of people in food service. You got your hobby business, your skill business in your house. You've got your friend's skill business in their house. Okay. Hopefully multiple friends' business in just one person or two person's house. Okay. Everybody has cars. Everybody needs to work on your fucking cars. I hope I'm not the only one who's learned enough about the thing that they need to use every day to see this as a no-brainer here. Instead of building garages, you build a garage. You know what I mean? And then as y'all become older and more successful, you can just flip cars for fun out of it if you want to. Otherwise, hire a mechanic and have them fucking, you know, write up a little business plan, It should be nothing if you're doing all this shit to make somebody able to self-sustain and help pay for this while doing oil changes and basic service. Now, my area in particular, we got a lot of Hondas, and people got to drive a long way to a Honda dealership, so I'm going to specialize in Honda service. It's just that simple. Because I love my Hondas. But because we have all this, you're talking about up to 76 people working here, okay? Restaurant, coffee shop, bar, club, some sort of food service business is quite appropriate. Because if nothing else, everybody here is going to want to eat there on our lunch breaks. And you can design your startup model just around that. And then events, birthday parties, meetings, all kinds of fun shit. Pays for itself. Everything there pays for itself. And the way you get it, again, to work short term, group land buy, cost overlap plan, and then the privatization of the land ownership by smart rezoning. So, I guess that about covers it. Anybody got any questions? Of course, if you're a really good fucking carpenter and know a lot of other really good carpenters, some kind of modular building type place is a great place to start. You know, multifamily, low income, some kind of housing. You know, just find what's needed, really. You could be in an area where there's just plenty of construction companies and no demand and no disasters, you know. Like up in the mountains where there's fucking 150-year-old houses everywhere. Be a bad idea out there. But, you know. Between the hurricanes and the rivers and the tornadoes and all kinds of shit around here, huh? It doesn't take a lot. So just, you know, realize the problem with any given industry. The problem with the construction industry is quite simple. Developers have clean fingernails. And not just developers. The people coming up with these fucking construction materials. Okay? They're shit. The zip system and all. Oh, come on. Shit. Foam? Are you kidding me? Yeah, it'll work really good for insulation until you spill one of several things on them. And then again, the slightest bit of humidity combined with any sort of regular temperature change is going to cause it to just disintegrate. So get together with carpenters and remodelers and figure out a way to build things from the ground up, okay, in a better way. Not just more durable, not just smarter as far as the weatherproofing and the ability to stay dry and to resist mildew and mold and termites and everything. But there's a lot of ways people could be reducing costs for themselves, specifically by, say, avoiding Home Depot. Get a warehouse. Better yet, get a combination warehouse workshop like I have. And I'm not going to tell you what to do and give away all my plans, but everybody knows how to build a composite beam. Okay? And you can save a lot of money doing that. You can enhance your designs doing that, right? Warehouse workshop, cheap materials to make more expensive materials, saving money. And then basically you have your designs, build those composite beams according to your design specs, build other pre-deployable components. Okay, short walls, you got some short walls on your design, build them all there, put them all in a truck, bring them to the job site. Why sit out there in the sun or in the cold, hammering, cutting, when you can just be sitting there, instead of unloading one piece of wood at a time into a truck and then unload one piece of wood at a time on a job site and then hammering it all together in place. Do that shit with the long beams and the long walls. Take all your short shit, right there at the shop. Load one thing onto a truck. In fact, load a bunch of walls onto a truck. Then go to the job site, erect your long walls, put your fucking short walls in between them, and go have a beer. Oh, yeah. But anyways. So, anybody ask any questions? Or am I just that thorough? Oh, the Russian guy had more to say, huh? The skid mark ninja. Oh, you Satanists are always so charming. Anyways, what's going on, Mr. Conway? If I didn't say hello earlier, I apologize. I was in my lecture mode. Boy, my shoulder cramped up from sitting in one position too long. Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling took my weed. What? Oh, my darling took my weed and she's smoking with some guy named Steve. What? What are you talking about? This is a weird story. Where are you taking us? I'm just trying to check and see if the third viewer is the troll, and maybe I can annoy him to death. Oh, my darling. Oh, my darling. Oh, my darling took my weed. Oh, my darling tied my dick into a pretzel while I peed. Don't take that literally. It's more of a metaphor. It's a lesson on life. It means don't tie your dick into a knot. Especially not while you're peeing. Found a peanut, found a peanut, found a peanut just now. Just now I found a peanut, found a peanut just now. It was rotten, it was rotten, it was rotten just now. Just now the peanut was rotten, it was rotten just now. Ate it anyway, ate it anyway, ate it anyway just now. Just now I ate it anyway, ate it anyway, just now. Got sick, got sick, got sick, just now. Just now I got sick, got sick, just now. Died. I died. I fucking died. Just now. Just now. I died. I died. Just now. Went to heaven. Went to heaven. This is the song that doesn't end. It just goes on and on, my friend. Some people started singing it, knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because this is the song that doesn't end. It just goes on and on, my friend. Some people started singing it, not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because this is the song that doesn't end. Okay, I'm done. So, let's talk about negotiating. How to win a negotiation. Now, let me just tell you something. real estate and financial gurus, they're on the right track with the advice they'll give you. But the only people in this world who have enough regular, frequent, sustained, and intense experience with negotiating itself are automotive sales managers. I know someone who was an automotive sales manager. Oh, wait, it was me. Oh, goody. I wonder what I have to say. Let's find out. Okay. I'm going to pretend like I don't have anything to say already, just in case that motherfucker comes back. Because I already gave this little speech kind of impromptu. And then I realized, whoa, that's just the fucking best way of getting someone completely over their fear of negotiation. Holy shit. I managed to fucking bring that down to a poetic level. Okay. So, you know, let me just build this up as much as possible, because I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Dave Ramsey gave some pretty good advice. It was just the other day, like how to negotiate. I don't know if that was an older video or was it just one that was posted. He's alright. And there's some other good introductions to negotiations. But none of them are fucking simple enough to keep in your head as sort of an ongoing mantra that not only guides you through the process and gets you over your fear of it, but actually results in you fucking winning the negotiation. Actually results in an equitable deal for both fucking parties. Because, you know, your goal shouldn't be to screw the other person. Your goal should be able to get to get a fair deal. All right. But you know what? As an automotive sales manager, I know that you don't need an automotive sales manager to tell you if you're out there buying or selling, chances are people are going to screw you. They're trying to screw you. I don't think people that watch my channel, well, who type comments in English, I don't think people who watch my channel are the likely type to be screwing people over. So that's, you know, why I'm giving y'all this advice on how to hold your fucking ground so you don't get screwed over. Okay? So if it sounds a little fucking prickish, let me just say again, it's based on experience of people coming in trying to cause car dealerships to close. Okay? That's what you fucking people do when you come to car dealerships. You're saying, I want to shut you down little by little. I want you to not make any money today. I want to basically rip you off and come home with a car. Because everybody comes into a car wanting a lower price than anybody's ever paid for it on the internet and shit. And that's just fucking not fair to local businesses, period. Okay? And guess what? When it comes to the shitty cars that break down, you have those people to thank for it. Okay? But because people have resorted to, instead of creative business modeling or cost reduction strategies, they've resorted to selling shitty cars. People have resorted to selling shitty houses, you know, because it is what it is. You have to approach it as what it is. And it's just like Mr. Ramsey had said, the key to negotiation is information. But that alone isn't going to help you. You know, because I mean that's just a fucking concept. How do you know what information? How do you prepare for that? Okay, how do you employ that in real time while someone's battering numbers at you? Well, here's the simple rule. Just wait for it. Wait for it. I got to take a deep breath right quick. And be warned, I will be doing a Joey Zeman impression shortly. My old boss, the owner of Z Imports. Because I'm going to show you just how unthinkably obnoxious you can be while still being perfectly fucking fair. It's kind of fun, actually. It almost does make it fun, I'll tell you. Yeah, negotiating. Who'da thunk it? Fun. You know, I've been kind of moving towards this process, but still kind of still personally feared, still kind of dreaded, even. Just there's nothing like it's like a dentist visit, you know. But now I'm just like, oh, this one simple rule, this one simple fucking mantra. I'm looking forward to my next negotiation. Have I built it up enough yet? Watch it be disappointing. Kidding. Never do what I'm doing right now with your ability to perform sexually. Never build yourself up saying you're like the best lay in the world. Never, 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 never do that, because you will never live up to whatever standard you created. In the mind of someone who grew up reading romance novels. But anyways, here goes. You ready? Every time they say a number, you say a fact. They're trying to get you to say a number. Don't say a number. Say a fact. You already said a number. You don't need to say another number. Just say facts. You've already decided what you want to sell something for. You've already decided what you want to pay for something. They keep saying a number. You keep saying a fact. That's how you wear someone down. That's how you hold the value on something. Assuming that it has value. Okay. If not, good luck. Go fuck yourself. But when something has value, somebody's trying to reduce the value of it when they don't want to pay you what you're asking. So to hold the value, when you're asking for $4,000 for something, and somebody wants to pay you $3,500, say why? Why? Is there anything wrong with it? Did you notice something wrong with it? Well, the Blue Book, the Blue Book takes into account a lot of different things. That's the average value considering average wear and tear. Did you find anything wrong with that? Average, that means, that means some shit has happened to it. And that varies by state. Show me another car right now in that good a condition for that price. Don't let people take value away from you and your business model. You have to stay in business. When it comes to buying something, get a good look at it. They're asking $4,000. You want to pay $3,500. It's $4,000. But it needs new tires. So take the $4,000. So I'll pay $3,800. And you give me new tires. Because and they're like, no, but it's $4,000. You don't move a lot at once. In fact, I went too high my first one just then. Just then I fucking fucked up. 4,000. Okay? And you know why I fucked up? I said a number, didn't I? See? I told you I just came up with this shit. It's fucking brilliant. But where I fucked up was I didn't fucking listen to it. It's a good example of just how well it works, isn't it? $4,000. You make your offer at $3,500. And they say, $4,000, what's wrong with it? Tell them what's wrong with it. Don't say another number. Wait till they say another number. Keep saying facts. $4,000. These new tires. You gonna put new tires on there? Then you might have them at $4,000 with new tires on it. And I say, okay, if I do new tires, will you do $4,000? I don't know. You got this big scratch on the hood, and you got paint faded right there. The interior's worn. Keep on making observations. Before they go to it, remember another rule of all, negotiable business contracts, or basically the rule of contracts, because this, and any sort of negotiable transaction is essentially a contract that's trying to be formed, which is you want a minimum of 3 options. Okay, so to express your preparedness, don't just say there's one more car that you've been looking at. Say there's 2 more cars you've been looking at. Okay? And hopefully this is true, because you wouldn't be in the negotiating phase unless you had looked at least 3 cars. You never want to look, I mean, unless you're a mechanic and you really know what the hell you're looking at and you're intentionally buying something with problems. Look at least 3 different cars of any one particular type, and never just go car shopping and just be looking for a car. Decide what the hell you want. Find somebody that knows about cars and get them to recommend you a car, and then go buy that car. Go test drive 3 of them. Compare them to each other so that you actually know, and you will be perceived as knowing what condition any of them are in. Because if that guy knows that you've driven another car like that, he knows that you know, or have a better chance of knowing, how shitty his is, or how good it is. You know? And you got to be mindful of that. If it's a fucking good car and if it's worth what he's fucking asking for it, pay what the fuck he's asking for it. And you can do that with confidence, having driven 2 other cars similarly priced. And his don't rattle when it rolls. His has that nice tight steering feel. The AC blows cold. Get them new tires on there. Call it a day. Anyways. But yeah. So, the key to winning is he that has the most information wins. Alright? Now, when buying used items, that comes with knowing the product, knowing what problems, knowing, what, if it falls short of the best possible value, you got to know it. You got to have all the different information about that. Okay? Whoever has the most knowledge wins. But to actually put that into use, what I'm saying is the mantra to keep in mind is, they say a number, you say a fact. Okay? And get ready, because when you say a number, guess what they're going to say? Chances are it's going to be a fact. Don't let that rattle you. And eventually, both of you will be forced to be actually fucking honest with each other, and, you'll come to an agreement. Because like I said, if you're going to be buying a car from Morris Motorsports Mayhem Multiberries, or whatever the hell I'm going to call it, I'm going to be doing fully restored Hondas, okay? You're not going to find another car that drives like that, and you're not going to find another car that's warranted. So you're not going to get me to come down on my price, because you're not going to be able to build one like that for yourself. I'm just saying. One day when my cars become for sale, if you want to buy one, you better be my good friend if you think we're going to give you a discount, because we're not going to be charging out the ass for them anyways. It makes me sad knowing how many shells of cars that I could turn into good cars again wind up getting like put through the chomper and shit. Oh, speaking of which, I saw one of them crash videos, like just the idiot fail in the winter driving kind of thing. '88 Integra. Fucking moron just lost control and just crashed into the side of it. The moron had the dash cam too, so it was like, that was my first car. And in fact, same color, blue gray metallic. Like that silvery blue. Oh, it's just painful. I really hope whoever was in that motherfucker knew what a classic that fucking car has become by now. Especially, oh my god. If you wind up giving that to your grandchild, they are gonna have a serious collector's item by the time Acura reaches 100 years old. But just in the next say 8 to 10 years, those early regular Acura Integras and Legends, eventually people are going to have to get serious about the balance between materials consumption, profitability, production, jobs, and marketing. All of those things are completely fucking out of balance right now. But this is going to change the way we make products in general. And I think one of the things it's going to do is force car companies to make them like they used to, in a way. Force everybody to be more like Honda. But even Honda has made some decisions to reduce production costs. Yeah, it pains me to say. Joe and I were just talking about the last edition K-Series engine that came out before the turbos came out. I don't think what I just said is true about the new turbo models. I just think having predominantly turbo as a lineup is a mistake for Honda. Okay. And the reason why is it's going to degrade their long-term value. But what it's going to do is make the older ones go up in value. And what Honda's going to eventually have to do is take not the last generation K-Series 2.4 liter engine that they had in the Civic Si, not in the Civic Si, the Accord. The one they had in the Civic Si was still done right. It was still the real K-Series. But the one they had in the Accords, and the later CRVs, the last 2.4 liter K-Series, that was Earth Dreams on the top of the engine. It had this merged cylinder head block thing going on. It's been a while since I looked at the diagram of it. But it's like the bottom end is still K-Series. But then the top of the casting is different. And it just kind of, it's all one piece, made to be lighter and use less metal. And they were fucking having problems in the service department with them. And, you know, that was another incentive on top of basically the need to add power. Like, basically Honda had some models with more power and as good a gas mileage than some cars. Okay, that's your little SI models, right? But overall, they would get better gas mileage with a little less pickup, a little less oomph on the bottom end especially. So Honda went to turbos so they could keep improving their gas mileage, because they got just a total philosophical commitment to doing that, while improving that bottom end torque just to stay on top of the market. Now, the mistakes being made here, to me, are so fucking obvious. And what's going to wind up being the solution once the world figures out its problems is going to be what they should have done in the first place. Dingo. Come here, baby. Come here. Let me wipe your eye off. It's all clean and fuzzy because I gave you a bath, huh? Oh, and look, your fucking eye is barely infected. But I'm still going to clean it for you. Okay. Good boy. Alright, go on. Go on. You want to play the drums? You want to play the drums for everybody? Come on. Alright, that's enough. Good boy. Dingo. Go on. Sleepy time. Like, why you got the lights on, asshole? So anyway, here's what Honda did wrong. Okay? They misunderstood America. They went not only to turbos. Okay, now let me just explain that over-investing into too many different technologies, especially under-proven technologies, is a fucking bad idea. You develop one technology at a time, and you don't go investing in more than one technology until you've seen how much that new proven technology, when proven, can help everything. Okay? Baby steps are fine. You're fucking Honda. You're on top of the shit. You know? But instead, at the same time that they did this Earth Dreams crap, they switched half the damn lineup to CVTs. But at the same time they did that, they started giving shit 7 and 8 speed transmissions. Now, there's something that's wonderful about Hondas. That's also kind of fucking stupid. It's wonderful and it's stupid. It's wonderful for me, but it's stupid for most people. It's the fucking gearing ratio. Earth Dreams was a mistake. Okay? It wasn't worth sacrificing durability to cut those costs. And now, I'm pretty sure a turbo setup costs even more to make. But what's more is you have the developmental costs that are cut into the profit. Okay? And then you have the CVTs, which most people just fucking hate. You want to fix Honda automatic transmissions, just ask somebody who rebuilds them. It's not hard to do. You want to make them last longer while still pretty much making them at the same price and with the same suppliers and everything, just add big external filters. That's all they really need is fucking filters on them. They just need big external filters so they never get clogged. Or, you know, at least it takes fucking 20 years. And, you know, make it to where you can change the damn filters. Oh. That way that transmission's just going to run and run and run until it just starts slipping and slipping and slipping. And just needs new clutch packs. Big fucking deal. Okay. CVTs. Like, I get it. But they're just not durable enough. Okay? They're just not. They're cheap. They're Nissan's attempt at getting better gas mileage because they couldn't figure out a decent way to make a motor. Well, other than for performance. Really good at making performance engines. Not really good at the old combination zippy gas saver. I had a Nissan gas saver. It was not zippy. Anyways, so the thing is about the transmission gearing, and what's just seeming wasteful to me about how they developed the CVT and the Earthstreams, and then went to turbos, and they developed the CVT while they were just releasing the fucking 7 and 8 speed. Now they have fucking 10 speed regular shifting transmissions. Hondas are made to accelerate well past 100 miles per hour. Why? Okay, most Hondas are geared, if given enough power, to accelerate to 163 miles an hour. Some of them to 158, some of them to 151. Okay. Other companies use about 138 to 144 mile an hour gearing, and more passive cam profiles, valve train profiles, to get a little bit better acceleration while still getting better gas mileage. And this helps them get that extra maneuver, you know, just a little bit of acceleration ability at highway speeds while in fourth and sometimes even in fifth gear, or in sixth gear in case of a 6-speed. Honda uses that wider final gear to achieve even better gas mileage, and then relies on VTEC technology to provide for that acceleration. However, instead of gearing the bottom gears towards getting up to a safe highway speed, they're generally geared to accelerate briskly well into like the mid-90s range, and your VTEC models will accelerate briskly well into the 120 mile per hour range. We need to move those gears down a little bit, create a bigger gap, smaller gap between second and third and fourth, bigger gap between fourth and fifth, and an even bigger gap between fifth and sixth. Okay, you get your better gas mileage, and you focus the acceleration down low. Then you don't need a turbo. And also, the closer gears down low would assist Honda with the reason why they went to the CVDs of their inability to make a smooth shift happen without clogging up transmission filters. Did I just say filters? Filters? Or filters? You know, whatever's available at the time. Sometimes you don't got no filters at the store, you gotta use a filter. Anyways. So when these turbos start to break, and the people at Honda start realizing they need to project their long-term value, sustainability, or whatever, you know, like how Hondas hold their value, when that starts being projected as going down, and the marketing people realize, wait, if people start realizing that Hondas aren't really as valuable, we're going to lose a certain percent of our margin sale. Take all the turbos off. They're going to go back to that shit. And all I'm saying is, if you're going to go back to that eventually, and you are, get the fuck away from the CVD. And, you know, give the Acuras the 10 speeds, give the fucking CRVs give the Accords and Civics the 7 speeds, just like you got in the CRV already. I think the Pilot's got an 8 speed. Fuck you need turbo for? You got 8 speeds. And then, boy, I don't know why they're so afraid of this. Because you could just make it an option. There's no replacement for displacement. Okay? Honda has made, and now has basically stopped making, the best 4-cylinder engine of all times. Okay? That would be the K24. Now, I've had B16s, B18s, and I currently have an H22 and a K24. But as much as I've put just tender love and care into my H22, and as glorious and monstrous as that little Accord is with it in there, what that CRV can do, being as considerably heavier as it is, with just that extra 0.2 liters. I mean, it's not nearly as fast as the Accord, but it is so much fucking faster than you'd think. If someone were to, say, refine the intake and exhaust system on there, give it a nice port polish, and stroke it out to 2.5 liters, maybe 2.7, maybe 2.8, maybe 3 liter, a 3 liter 4-cylinder. Have to set the rev limit at like 4,500. but I'd sure like to tune the exhaust on that bitch. Just angry. Just 4 little angry cylinders. You see, from the late 80s, actually there was a 86, 87, all the way through to the mid 90s, they used a B16, okay, and it had the perfect fucking rod to stroke ratio that this motor could just spin and spin and spin and spin. Okay, so street people could just play with it, and it just, it didn't rattle itself apart, you know. It just went, it sang to 8,000 RPMs and just asked for more. And they came out with the Type R version, and then I think it was Brian Crower was the guy who first came out with the stroker kit for it. And you could make the little 1.6 into a 2-liter by putting the 1.8 liters oil pan on there. And fuck, I forget exactly how, but there's a way to swap out other Integra parts and stroke out a B16 or a B18. But anyways, they get the mix of CRV and A20 parts. I'm not sure. It's been 10 plus years since I read that fucking write-up. Anyways, but what a lot of racing teams wound up doing was taking the B18s and the B16s and stroking them out until about mid-90s when the H22 came out. And a couple years later, and even the Integra touring cars that came with the B18C Type R Integra motor, the real-time guys, my guys, were running reverse firing order H22s. Yeah, flipped around, K-Series style. That is with the exhaust in the back, intake in the front. Okay, reverse firing order, H22s in Integras. That's badass. And that's basically what led to the K-Series, which is essentially a modified S2000 motor, which is based on the F22 or the H22. It's designated as an F22, but is sort of a cross between them, and of course performs more like an H. But what's interesting is you might notice that the S2000 engine kind of looks like it has a K-Series head on it. And that's because it's the direct connection between the H and F series, which have the same bottom end, and the modern K-Series motor, or now pre-modern, or whatever the fuck you would call it, the more recent K-Series motor. But that K-Series motor became common to Civics. Civic Type R had a K20. Integra Type R had a K24. The Accords all had an F22 that was basically the same exact K as the K18 in the Civic. I don't even know if that was designated a K18 or an A18, but literally all these blocks were the damn same block on the bottom end, and they just had different strokes, bores, and heads on them. And the K24 had the dual overhead cam VTEC head, and 2.4 fucking liters, man. Whereas Honda was doing pretty well with 1.6, making a legend for itself with 1.8, winning races with 2.0, well, with 2.2 liters stroked down to 2.0 so that they could spin higher, more stably. And many, I knew a Honda factory drag racer in Houston who had an H22 that was bored out to 2.5. He said he was working on a 3 liter. I don't know if that ever happened. I think it did happen, but it was like I had to hear about it later. Anyways, ITB's the words. So the Integra Type R from 2002 to 2004 was the best front-wheel drive non-turbo ever. Acceleration, gas mileage, comfort, cargo capacity, handling. Oh, handling. The car brought its own rails with it. Okay. And that exact engine with a detune, basically, different cams, smaller valves, different exhausts, but the same head, the same crank, not balanced and blueprinted like in the Type R's, but the same, basic crank assembly. I think a slightly smaller bore and a longer stroke, but I might just be being over precautionary on qualifying my statement. But 2.4 liters, the heads, everything, it looks identical, it operates identical, it's got most of the same fucking parts, just there's these little interchangeable parts on them that are different. And that K24 got put in the Accord. And the Honda CR-V. And then, even as they switched to Earth Dreams, the K24 stayed in the Honda Civic Si. It went from K20 to K24. So it was basically a Civic Type R, just being called a Civic Si. And nobody really knew it. But that K24 in that little Civic Si from about 2013, it's a beast, man. And they kept it in the CR-Vs all the way up until 2014, I think. And now the 2015s have the turbo, the Earthstream turbo. Bulletproof fucking engine. Just an amazingly durable, well-performing, great gas mileage engine. And it's going to be remembered as such. even more and more the longer Honda fucks around with these different alternative crap things that just aren't very Honda of them. But what they need to do sooner rather than later is basically offer a, and I'm not sure what to do the insignia of it for, as, but basically offer a touring nostalgia or some kind of designation for a common engine option that gives you the old school, but like an updated, like a, you know, racing touring car lessons learned type version of it. Not like a like an actual racing one with shitty gas mileage or anything, but you know, like you can do a lot of things that most racers and tuners might consider a waste of time. But myself personally, I see great value in them. Like tuning a car to improve performance and gas mileage simultaneously instead of trying to get more performance without sacrificing too much gas mileage. So what you can do is, you know, first of all, refresh it, make sure it's running perfectly. Update the quality of the oil that you're using, and then focusing on air flow, not on a flow capacity standpoint, but a flow smoothness standpoint. And that's why I do port polishing, and I'll do intake, but an intake always the same length resonantly and always in the same place and cut off by a cold air box. Okay, so it can have higher flow when the engine wants to suck higher flow. All right, but not gonna confuse it and make it get higher flow than it knows what to do with that computer, or high flow that's hot radiator blown air or something like that. And then on the exhaust side, I'll open up the headers, I'll open up the catalytic converter, get all that smooth. But I never use a straight through fart can muffler on something that isn't a fucking race car, because you need back pressure in order to be light on the gas pedal and save gas on normal commuting type driving. And that muffler needs to provide the back pressure. All you're going to do if you put a fart can without doing the headers, you're not going to provide enough back pressure to save the gas mileage. You're just going to confuse the fuck out of the O2, out of the computer, because it's going to be, you know, flowing normally through there, and then just there's going to be no back pressure after the O2 sensor, and that can cause the catalytic converter basically not to heat up properly, and yeah, that's why people wind up spurting out all kinds of black shit, running rich, and yeah. Anyways, so I do the headers. I do a port polish, intake opening up. Don't increase injector size. Go with higher quality wires, higher quality plugs. Refresh the ignition system, the electrical system. Rifling on the inside of exhaust to create higher flow. No, that's not what that does. um, you might actually increase heat transfer early on in the system by doing that. And that's just a horrible idea. Conduction and convection would be increased by that. Dingo. You want it as smooth and sort of like a don't touch me kind of effect. Okay? A spiraling idea, that's like you want it to touch the walls. Now, you don't want it to touch, like, I mean, obviously there's bends. It's going to have to touch the shit. But you want to have that idea in mind when it comes to flanges and when it comes to how gentle you want to make those bends, you know, as gently as possible. But like the reason why I do headers as opposed to just keeping it all stock is for the downshift. Okay. Fucking Honda VTEC automatic. Let me tell you, the secret to making that a luxurious experience, headers. That gives you that extra bit of breathing room that you need for that brief moment of surprise acceleration. The fucking likes just went up to 2 and now they're at 0. What the fuck? So like, can you picture that when you know, you see the fucking opening like a goddamn 18-wheeler in the left lane. I need to downshift and accelerate over that way and get around this motherfucker, right? Whatever. That moment when you stomp on it, that initial excess of exhaust is going to have plenty of place to go before it starts to constrict as far as its flow goes, right? But then overall there's back pressure in the system, so you still have like when I'm in gear, I still have that nice in gear acceleration, but because of the fat headers there is just a little bit of squish to it. The DC Sports headers on my Integra were a little bit narrower on their outlets, so its throttle response was actually just a little bit better, even though it was a 1.6. But as far as the actual in-gear acceleration, once the back pressure builds up because the muffler's still there, right, and the catalytic converter and all that, you get over that little poof that helps you stomp on it. You build up that back pressure, and the 2.2 liter just has so much better overall in-gear acceleration, even though it has a little bit less response. I'll tell you what, those headers I got on there were really fucking nice looking, man. They were fucking $72 shipped on eBay, but they were just really nice looking. Stainless steel, very nice welds. You know, Chinese shit, but balling on a budget, man. Trying to get a car together so we could fucking get some income. So, anyways, I don't know if you saw, added a little pyramid where the pyramid goes. This is just going to be a semi-pyramid. It's not what it looks like, but it still kind of looks cool, so I don't know. I haven't bothered trying to make the other ones more elaborate. And this one's, it's going to be really very, very just wooden pyramid-like, so. Cross Street, residential. Main Street, car shop, fish shop, construction, restaurant, recycling center. Now again, ideally, you'd have these on the other side of this road back here. So maybe even sitting in a nice little wooded area back there. But all's going well with that. Or, yeah. As good as it could be without me having been out there. Like, I want to get in the dirt. I want to. That was a horrible attempt at pantomiming that process, but I was in the middle of relighting a cigarette, so yeah, whatever. Thinking of a guy I know that taught me what little I know about land surveying, and wondering if he still does it. He had his own business doing it. But I want to be out there putting up spikes. I want to be out there laying lines where this shit's gonna go. So that plan of having an investor, okay, that's what I'm doing right now. Or having some investors. But if you want to get yourself an investor, you got to get your plan down to 3 years. That's how bad the banks are right now. Like, that's just how bad the economy's become. But it's a hurdle that I've gotten over. I just don't have any actual money from it yet. It's a slow going process. But it's happening. That's the important thing. That right there, this here, this could actually be a real fucking thing. So he basically, one guy's gonna buy this, another guy's gonna provide cash, another guy's gonna handle legal and licensing. You know, you allocate the responsibilities, and you draw up a linear plan for how you're gonna phase out the development. And in our case, it's gonna be so that first and foremost, we rezone the property. Then the first prototypes are going to be the least consequential, which conveniently enough for me gets to be a new house for us. Yeah, we're just going to experiment by building my place. Figure that's the best way to go for every reason. And then the store, and then contractor's place and his base of operations. And then those are going to be bought from the entity to liquefy for further development. So basically, what you're looking for from your investor is what's called a rolling line of credit. A finite amount of money that you can use over and over again as you replace it. And one of the ways you can replace this money, because it's a separate entity from yourself, is by buying something from the entity. And you can, to appease your investor, to make it work, to get the money to do it to begin with, overcharge yourself and be like, look, like, not like overcharge yourself, but under normal circumstances, you wouldn't sell yourself a piece of land at market value, is what I'm saying, so you're essentially overcharging yourself, right? But you're putting it on paper as market value, okay, and getting your other people who want to go in on the land or whatever to agree to get this done. Us and our busted ass credit situation, working our shit fucking paycheck to paycheck jobs. To get this done, we need to agree to accept market value for these houses. Financed, 30-year, fixed rate. You're talking $300, $400 month notes. Okay. As co-owners of the businesses, when applying for these personal loans, we have assets. Isn't that convenient? All this other property around it, we own part of that. So then we get to buy our own houses. We're in a better credit footing. Okay, and bear in mind you have 3 years to do this. It's almost like cheating. Now, if you're going to do this for anything that needs some sort of land development as a process, if you want to get into developing fucking multifamily housing or office space, Start your fucking prototypes there. See, another benefit to my particular model is the prototyping process. I don't know how to repeat that for somebody else. Unless you want to try to compete with me on the modular building thing, then you're welcome to do it. My shit's pretty simple. It's just a way to get people jobs. And keep their houses from flooding and toppling over and getting blown away. Or mildewing. Or pretty much all the other annoying shit. But anyways. So, Mr. Conway, how does it feel to be a team leader? I'll let you know when we got something worth bragging about. So anyway. Yeah, turbos. Well, spiraling exhaust. Spiraling exhaust is a lot like turbos. It's an extra feature that can cause problems that isn't going to be enough of a benefit. And when it comes to, okay, like I just saw the comment again. I'm kind of like obsessing about this. Like, this is so just a bad idea. Like, oh yeah, the vortex flows faster. No. Well, I mean, yeah, but no. First of all, you have the increased heat dissipation. You really want your exhaust to hold the heat inside of itself. Okay, so that it doesn't, sublimate on the exterior and fall to shit, but so it doesn't heat up the engine compartment, so it doesn't heat up the cabin, so it, so the heat comes out the fucking tailpipe where it's supposed to go. Okay? But then you have two more really big problems. If you do it before the catalytic converter, you're going to cause the catalytic converter to overheat. The convection is going to centralize instead of what's needed is even distribution over the entire surface of the honeycomb. Okay? And that's why they're the exterior shaped the way they are, to radiate the heat out, because they have to heat up to a certain temperature just to operate properly. But if they wind up getting heated unevenly, that's when you have all the different clogging problems, and you can even have them fucking explode. Um, so yeah, rifle your shit if you want your catalytic converter to explode. Otherwise, if you don't do it before the catalytic converter, do it after the fact. You're going to debilitate your low-end throttle response because a vortex cannot carry a resonant wave. Okay? And the way you tune a naturally aspirated car is by causing resonant sound waves that echo back into the combustion chamber relevant to the frequency of the rotations per minute. Okay? So what happens is, this is something that very few people will fucking ever explain to you. It's not something that anybody cares about anymore. It's like only the engineers at Honda and Toyota like even bother with this. None of the fucking street tuners even bother with this anymore. But this used to be a thing that you had to know about to tune your old fucking big blocks and shit back in the day, right? And you'd be sitting there, like a really good tuners would be sitting there listening, and maybe even kind of leaning their head on the fucking fender or something like that, and then sawing off little by little, just little by little, the end of the tailpipe, or adjusting the fucking end of the air cleaner. Okay. Usually you set your air cleaner and you cut the exhaust to match it. Okay. But the point of this, let me get my fingers back up. So you have your little opening, all right, and I don't know how to fucking make this pan in my mouth, but you got your valve going up and down. Okay, let's just say it right there. Right here, you got your valve going up and down, and you got your air going inside of there, right? Well, if you can cause a resonant frequency from the sound that's going on there to travel back through the exhaust, it goes from there through the engine. Okay, I don't know why I started on the exhaust on that side. Now I got to use my other hand. Let's see if I can coordinate that. And causes the same wave, a reciprocating wave, to occur at the intake side. Okay? This reciprocating wave then causes pulses to form in the intake charge. And those pulses match up with every single time that valve opens. So not only is it sucking in air, it's an ideally a resonant tuned, like from the factory, those really smooth sounding cars are resonant tuned. That's why they used to have these little plastic deals called resonators on them. It was so they could make the tailpipes nice and short, so they could get those resonant frequencies to amplify back into that chamber. I don't know if they do it so much nowadays or just rely on computers, man. But then again, I don't even bother to look at much under the hoods of new cars. You know, they got the fucking plastic covers on shit, and I'm not interested. All right, one more cigarette and I'm gone. How the fuck did I drink this whole cup of coffee? Damn it. It was a good cup of coffee, that's how. Anyways. So yeah, if you got a vortex, there's not going to be any reciprocating wave. And you're not going to be able to get that nice factory level throttle response. You know, that old Honda factory throttle response. And it's the main reason why once people put the short ram air intake in the fart can muffler that they don't have any fucking throttle response. It's the back pressure and the lack of resonance. And what you do is you take your fart can over to one of them old fucking guys with the beards and the bandanas and shit. Not me, somebody else. And have him sit there and listen to it and cut your fart can off. And maybe you'll get some throttle response. Maybe you'll get hemorrhoids, I don't know. But there's... yeah. The one part of an exhaust worth rifling is the last two tubes in the muffler. You know, I like the dual tip mufflers. Single muffler, two tips. That's the best use of materials in my opinion. And really, I like the way that sounds. Not many people do, but I like the way that sounds. That's how my Accord is, and it sounds fucking great, doesn't it? But in those last two, or in an oval muffler, okay, in that last outlet, after after the muffler's done its job and slowed it down, that would actually be a great idea. Because then that would be what essentially the equivalent of keeping the back pressure where it was needed. It would still fuck up your inverse wave pattern. I don't know, it might not. I don't know. It's worth trying. Huh. Like, you'd have to experiment and keep everything else the same. And then, rifle. And then compare. It'd be hard to... You have to do repeated tests, switching them back and forth, and compare the data overall. But the advantages would be if it didn't affect the resin, if the resin could still reflect back through the muffler assembly itself and be able to travel along the non-rifled conduit. I think that's possible to tune it like that. I'm not sure though, because I've never fucking done that. And again, I think you'd actually need to actually experiment and come up with the data on it. But the advantages would be, anyways, the increased heat dissipation from within the muffler, and it would allow sort of an increase in back pressure relative to high end flow. So it would help the high end flow without hurting the back pressure. Right there in that last tube section. And that like say your oval is, you know, this, like your engine's this way, and that's the back of the car. These pipes, generally speaking, go you know, kind of like so. You know, they'll stick out of the end of the muffler, but they'll stick into a chamber. You know, sometimes facing away from another chamber. You'll have like the pipe that comes in over here, and then this extends to, you know, past it, so they don't connect in directly. And then this chamber is what absorbs the sound. But if you had this rifled here, then the air would be able to flow just out of this easier. And I think that that increased heat convection might actually help at that point. Anyway, I'm done blabbering on about nothing. So, unless you got anything else you want to talk about, I'm going to go ahead and call it a broadcast, brother. So, thanks to Jordan and Mr. Conway for hanging out and chatting. The fucking view count is just going hokey, and now I can't even see Jordan's messages anymore. Anyways, so I hope anybody who isn't in on this project finds this very useful. And as far as the people who know what they're going to be doing, this is one of the ways to consider, you know, reducing our costs in your development areas. But it's not something that, you know, I'm going to expect or anything. But the motivations other than help me and help you are pretty obvious. We all know how getting things done quicker helps everything, right? But you guys might have friends, maybe even family, that might be looking to, you know, make screws or balls. So, just something to keep in mind. I'm gonna go get some fucking rest now. Thanks for watching. Take it easy.